Hi, I'm Trisha Farron, and this is Keeping the Real in Real Estate. And today I'm going to take you through the process that my family went through to put a new deck on our backyard. The reason why we wanted to put a new deck is because they built this great house, and the deck that we had was like an afterthought. It was too small, it was awkwardly shaped, and it had the scariest and longest staircase you could ever imagine. I didn't even want to walk down thinking that I was going to completely fall down into the bottom. And underneath the deck, because our house is so high in the backyard, they had made a beautiful, what could have been a beautiful Belgian block patio, but they never did it right. So there were weeds coming in between the grout, and it was slippery from kind of being wet and mossy all the time. And it was really more of a spiderweb collector than anything else. And while we did put some furniture down there, you felt like you were just in the afterthrows of a house. You never felt like it was inviting, or it was a place that you'd certainly not want to entertain. Plus, I would have to clean it to get all the bugs and webs and grossness out of it every time I wanted to use it. It was not conducive at all. So my husband and I, we waited a long time before we actually made the decision to do it, because it was a choice of, do we just redo the deck that we had, or do something new? To do something new, we knew was going to be quite costly. So we had to wait. And as we waited, our desires for what we wanted continued to add to the list, making it even a bigger project. But I knew that once it was done, it was going to be something so worthwhile, it would add value to our house, and it would be something that we could actually use. And thankfully, that has actually come to be. So in the fall of 2020, we started to interview contractors. And this proved to be a challenge in itself. I encountered people who just didn't call me back, people who actually came, we went through the whole process and never gave me a quote. I ended up working with Huntjack Construction, which you've seen I've used in previous videos. This was actually my first introduction to Bill. Not only did he respond to my request, he came out, he gave me a quote, and he was super patient because I knew I wanted a unique deck. And it was very difficult for me to articulate everything that was in my head. And he was patient, and we did designs, and we did a whole bunch of different things, which literally took months. Every time I thought the design was right, I'd come up with either a new feature that I wanted, or something just didn't sit right. But Bill kind of just took it with stride, and I would explain to him why I was making a change, and he would just go back and re-render everything. And finally, when I got to see the design that was more of a collaborative effort, I knew this was going to be the deck that was supposed to be built for this house. So that was that hurdle that we had to overcome. Thankfully, when you hire a general contractor, they take care of everything. So I didn't have to worry about the permits or hiring the electrician, or separate from the mason, separate from the carpenter. Bill took care of everything. So as long as he and I were in communication, I got to see what was in my head actually coming to life. And it was truly quite the spectacle, because the back of my house, as I mentioned, is very tall. And so to not have a deck, so when they did the demolition, that it was completely bare, it was frightening, because we had to make sure that nobody opened up our sliding door, because they would fall and it would be horrible, because it's a long way down. But to just see it empty in this blank canvas of space where there were items before, for a short second I started second guessing myself. But as it started to come together, I could not even believe how incredible this looked. Now, this was in the middle of COVID, so things took a long time. We were lucky to be able to get the materials that we needed, that the prices didn't change. The design itself, we started in November of 2020. The demolition of my deck started in March of 2021. And that period in between, now obviously I'm in Connecticut, so the weather is certainly going to play a role, but it was ordering materials and making sure that we had enough of any one particular item, and that it's what I wanted. You know, sometimes looking at things online, the colors are not quite right. I'd get a little swatch like this to decide, is this the color that I want for the entire deck? So you have to kind of be patient, and you have to kind of look at it and use guidance in every possible way. in that circumstance. I think today, now that things have loosened up a bit, you could probably go to a store and see a bigger sample of what you're trying to accomplish. But I didn't have that advantage. So I had to rely on my team and my instincts to make sure that what I was doing and what they were doing is what we would want in the end. So what we wanted was a place that we can enjoy, that is beautiful, that is maintenance free, because I'm not going to be sitting out here doing a bunch of things to get ready for entertaining. I just want to enjoy what we did. And I wanted it to be multifunctional. One of the issues that I had with the previous deck is we had to keep buying those canvas style pergolas because you needed to block the light, or else you would bake anytime you were out there in the summer, which meant I couldn't work outside. You just feel like you can't be out there for any length of time. And those pergolas broke. We would buy one like maybe once every other year. We had to worry about it in bad weather. I mean, I had one flip over the deck part way because the wind took it. So we started talking about maybe putting an awning over that part of the deck, and that would be a permanent awning so that we could be outside in bad weather and not have to worry about the sun. So that was the first part of the design, and we were trying to design the entire deck around this awning. And we wanted it to be multi-level and have unique curves and shapes to it. And this is part of the reason why designing it was just taking forever, because it'd be like, no, that's too small, or that's too big, or do we really want to do it that way? And then Bill would come back and he says, if you do it that way, all this area is going to be staircase. It's like, so in the end, we talked about having 2 sets of stairs. I wanted to be able to get to my garden in an easy fashion, and I wanted the access towards the driveway to be a separate item. So we put in 2 steps. Instead of having a tiered top level, we made it one full level so that we can have a lot of flexibility in how we wanted to decorate. On the lower level, this was the aha brilliant moment of the day. Why do an awning? Instead, let's make the whole deck waterproof so we can use the entire underneath. Unbeknownst to me, as I was thinking through this, Bill said, we could put a really beautiful patio underneath. And so I'm thinking, okay, so we're going to have this great deck on top and this beautiful patio underneath that we're probably never going to use because it's going to be very similar to the way it was before. So by putting in a waterproof deck, this expanded our area by more than double, because now we have the entire upstairs deck that we can use, and we created a dining area and we created a fire pit area. And then underneath, we have more of like a living room area, and we put in a giant hot tub. So it doesn't matter what the weather. You want to rain all you want. I can work underneath the deck and not get wet. There's absolutely beautiful lighting. There's a fan. There's electricity. There's so many components that has brought our normal life outdoors. It is absolutely incredible to me. I can't explain how many times I sit outside working and I have the dogs running around, so they get to be outside. I'm enjoying the good weather that we have, which is such a short season. And I'm not baking. I have a fan. I have a bug light. I have all the things that I need to be able to hang out outside. And that to me is worth this entire process. There were things that we had to decide, like the hot tub. The hot tub took 13 months to come in. And there was no unit in a store for us to see. We actually had to read articles, go based on reviews. We watched YouTube videos. We did a lot of stuff on our own to make sure that this was the tub that we wanted. When it came to the furniture that we wanted to buy, it was ridiculous. We would have to wait 6, 8, 9 months for furniture. So the first year, our deck wasn't as usable as we wanted it to be. But as the pieces started to fall into place, honestly, it's incredible. We were supposed to, on the patio end, we wanted to put in a fireplace with stone seating. The cost was absolutely prohibitive. We had to cut back because we were already spending so much. So we put a fire pit upstairs with Adirondack chairs around it, and it's lovely. One of the best ideas that my husband had was we were going to do a weatherproof mounted television underneath so that we could watch football games or whatnot while we're in the hot tub. That again was incredibly expensive. Like, the case is more expensive than an actual television, and it's very limiting. So we decided, or my husband had suggested, to take a TV and put it on a roll-away cart, and it's fantastic. We could tilt it to watch while we're in the hot tub. We could tilt it to when we're sitting in the living room area downstairs. We've brought it upstairs, sitting around the fire pit in the evening watching a hockey game. It's so versatile. Everything that we've done, even though it took so long, everything that we've done for this deck has been exactly what we want. And I know one day I'm going to sell this house, and this deck is going to be a contributing factor as to why somebody is going to say, wow, we need to live here. Because now we have outdoor space. I'm sitting on over 3 acres that we use this much. And it's because it wasn't friendly. It wasn't inviting. It had high maintenance components. Everything that we've done, Trex decking, vinyl staircase, even the furniture that we bought, maintenance free. We even ended up buying a gigantic umbrella that swivels from one side to the other. So if you want to be outside in the middle of the day upstairs and sit by the fire pit, you can do that and not bake. And if you want to eat and sit at the table, we just need to swivel it and you can sit there. So every aspect that we've done for this deck has been thought through carefully about how we live and how we want it to live, and all the restraints that we had with our old deck that we hated so much. So I'm pleased to present you my amazing deck that I'm just so happy to have. I thank Bill and his team for all the work that they did and his patience. This has now been a game changer for us. So I hope you get to enjoy the pictures as much as we get to enjoy it every day.